share my screen. So what I want to talk about to you today is about virtual worlds, like I said. And let's go to the PowerPoint presentation. Here we go. And start presenting. Right. So you have all been maybe in some sorts of virtual meeting places if Zoom and Teams can be counted as such. The question is, can they or not? But so today's session is, so first we are going to talk a little bit about what places are in general, then a little bit about the history and philosophy, some general aspects of virtual spaces, and then I have a day task for you. So, and then which is an analysis of a virtual world that you will do, well, ideally in small teams of 2. Then you will have enough to do, all of you. And then, so basically I have counted that this morning lecture would take from now to about 10:30. Maybe we can stop a little bit earlier, let's see. And then we'll continue with the presentations, with your presentations at 1 o'clock. And then we'll have 2 hours for them. And each presentation would take about 10 to 15 minutes, including the conversation. So that's the program for today. Any questions at this point? If not,
yes.
Yeah.
I have another class at 1 p.m.
Well, that's not my problem, so to say, because this session is supposed to last from 9 till 3.
Okay.
So you have to sort that out.
Okay. No problem.
Well, no problem for me.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Okay.
But earlier I asked, like, that stated that every one of us has been in Zoom or Teams and said that those might be virtual places, but are they really places? Like, what is a place? Like, what do we call it? When do we call a place an actual place? Like here in the picture, there's a photo, I think, of a sports field in Ylöjärvi. It looks really boring, but it's still a place. So tell me, what are your favorite places? Like, give me a couple of favorite places of yours.
Well, I like walking alongside the Tohloppi Lake, for instance. I think it's really pretty in summer. Or were we talking about virtual places?
No, real places. Or all the places, yes. So yes, Lake Tohloppi, I know it. I've lived there.
Nice.
I used to run the 5 kilometers. Nowadays I walk. Have you been skating there?
No, I always look with fear when the ice comes, but it's really great to see that there's a lot of people skating and ice fishing there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so it's a place where a lot of people like to go, and it has all kinds of nice views when you walk along it. Usually if we had some contact lessons, for instance, today I would have taken all of you to Lake Storhopi and we would have walked around it. So, but we can't do it now. Okay, other favorite places.
My home. This may sound funny, but I really like to spend time at my home where I have my favorite things, my favorite books, my favorite activities nearby, and where I can rest from well, too many people around me.
So it's a safe space where you can rest.
Yeah, and have my favorite things.
Yes.
At.
So you can work and relax and have favorite things there and do interesting things, probably.
Yeah.
So what about places where you go meet people? Do you have, or where you see people? Do you have any favorite places like those?
To be fair, it's kind of like my favorite places are museums because I really well, I find them to be not only entertaining but also I learn new things, and you even when there's like the permanent exhibition collection, you can still miss things when you visit 1 or 2 times, and it just, I don't know, it's inspirational for me. So.
If you went to a museum all by yourself so that there was nobody else, would that be the same?
Actually, yeah. For me,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not particularly people oriented, so maybe I'm not the best person to speak here.
No. All the experiences are valuable here, like all place experiences. So you can experience a place on your own without any people. But for myself, I also like to go to places where I can actually meet people, like for instance, Mediapolis, when it's not when there's not a pandemic. I actually like to come there and see my colleagues and see students and meet them. Because otherwise, Mediapolis as a place, as a building, is quite horrible. You've been there probably.
Yeah, I've been at night, so working.
Yeah, so
some students reported to be almost like haunted, but to me it felt like really like, it's safe and I can relax.
Yeah, it probably is haunted by some old television workers. No, it was built in the 1970s, and it looks nice when you look out of the windows, but when you look at the building, it looks quite ugly, and there's asbestos everywhere and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's the people that make it a nice place in the daytime, at least. So often when I walk in a forest, for instance, there's the Lake Halimasjärvi, which has many nice places. Like a year ago or so, more than a year ago, I think, yes, I found a new place near Lake Halimasjärvi when I went off the path into a smaller path and then walked up a hill, a forested hill. Then I came to a place with these big stones, like they were like 4 or 5 meters high, these stone boulders. And I instantly thought that this is a great place. And then I started thinking, like, why do I think this is more a place than the forest in between? So it had to do with the stones, obviously, so that it felt more like a place where you could go and maybe you could show that to somebody, or maybe you could just have come back there more than I would come back to some nameless other place in the forest. It's a bit hard to explain, but then, well, I'm over 50, so I was a child in the 1970s and then 1980s. So in the 1970s, we got the first images of the planet Mars. Like they showed them in the news, in television. I was maybe 7 or 8, or maybe younger. So when they showed those pictures, and they were color pictures, and of some stones, like a stony landscape, and that made Mars for me like a real place, because I've been always interested in astronomy. So at that point, I knew what planets were, but the other planets have been like abstract things for me. And then suddenly I saw that, okay, this is a place with stones, it's a place with sand, there's sky, and you can see the sun. Or maybe it looked totally boring, but it was a real place. But did that place get a meaning? So that place got a meaning for me once there have been pictures of it. So one question is that if I'm in Zoom, I don't get that kind of feeling that I'm in a place. Do you get like a feeling right now that you are somewhere else than at your desk or wherever you do your work or studying? You have a feeling of being some elsewhere?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I know that you're there, but you're not there directly with me. That there is a barrier between us, and that vexes me. And it's different when you go to, for instance, Gather Town, where you can see little avatars of everybody who's participating, and you can hear their voices. Okay, so sometimes a place is made more like a place when people meet there, but not always. Like you have to have some sort of physical feeling thing, that you have to see the other people, and maybe you have to have a surroundings. So I think those are like things that you need to have in a place. Also, you need to have some sort of other communication method than just speaking. Because when I'm talking with other people on the telephone, I'm also not in another place. I'm there where I am speaking to someone in the telephone, and Zoom is not that much different from that. So there's no medium where we could all preside. So no place, in other words. So if we go to virtual spaces, then I have to mention Jaron Lanier. This is him when he was a little bit younger, maybe. So he's called the father of virtual reality because he was probably one of the first people to use that word back in the early 1990s. So he wrote these articles back then. Like, he's a scientist and also a musician and other things as well. Also, he has interesting hair, but I don't think that's the point here. But so in the early 1990s, I happened to read an article in Wired magazine where there was an interview of Jaron Lanier. And that was the time when I was starting to get interested in virtual reality. I had already tried it out. Like, that was the first wave of virtual reality goggles, although they were more like helmets then. I had tried it at our university in Germany. And I was, by the way, the first volunteer to try it out when we were asked. Yeah. Anyway, back to Jaron Lanier. What he wrote in Wired, or what he said in the interview, was that what he imagined virtual reality to be like, that it would be a social space where he could meet maybe with his girlfriend or with his wife or with some friends, and then they could turn into these amphibious dolphins that could fly, and they would create some sort of fantasy landscape to themselves where they could go in these rainbow colored waters and then jump up and then fly into these weird clouds and so on, and just have fun and make music and art. So that was his original vision of what people would do in virtual spaces, that they would meet and be something else and have fun at the same time. But Jaron Lanier was not the first one who had imagined like a place that could be virtual, or because there's also the simulated reality theory has been around for a long time. So maybe some of you have heard the story of the Chinese philosopher Chuang-Tzu. Is there somebody who can, by the way, pronounce his name in the correct Chinese way? Is it Chuang-Tzu or Chuang-Tzu? Or... Okay, so probably we don't, I can't see the chat right now. By the way, so anyway, the story of Chuang-Tzu was that he was dreaming and he dreamt of being a butterfly. And when he woke up, he was Chuang-Tzu again. And then he was asking himself, am I the butterfly who is dreaming of being Chuang-Tzu, or am I Chuang-Tzu who dreamt of being a butterfly? So what reality is actually real? And there are even some physicists who claim that this reality could be like a very high-level computer simulation, and they claim, these physicists, also to have some proof, indirect proof of that in some parameters that they have found in physics. You can read more about that if you want to, But then, of course, there are many religions that have this some sort of view that of a game like or simulates reality. I mean, for instance, in Hinduism, you gather these karma points and in life, and then you have the next life, and then you can gather more karma points. And if you gather enough of certain kinds of karma points, then you can become one of the gods. And the soul that is occupying that particular god, let's say Kali, will then become something else, and you will become Kali in one of your lives. Maybe I have misunderstood Hinduism, but that's how I thought of it when I was in India, and people explained it to me what Hinduism is. Anyway, then, well, in Buddhism, there is only one soul that is occupying different bodies, and once you understand that the reality is just an illusion, then you get to go out of the game, and supposedly that's the thing that you would like to do. And if you think of Christianity, of course, there's the God who has created the universe, which would make it kind of like a computer game where you have sort of a point system that takes you either to hell, heaven, or limbo when you have died. So this, I mean, that in Christianity, that the basic idea is that this world is not the real world, but the real world is the next world where you go when you die. Okay, and I'm probably making many religious people angry with this. Okay, by the way, if someone has a very like Christian mindset, there might be like one or two slides here that might be upsetting to you. So I'm just saying that in advance. Okay, but let's go on. So this is the image that I was referring to, that this might upset someone. I've had classes before where people have gone out of the classroom when I have shown images of Hinduism or things like that. They said that they couldn't bear it. But anyway, this is supposed to be the different avatars of the god Vishnu, according to Hinduism. There are different views here also in Hinduism, like which are the actual avatars. Like, so an avatar originally is, it means material appearance of or incarnation of a deity on earth. And Vishnu, according to Hinduism, had like several of these appearances or incarnations during the millennia. Buddha was one of them, and I think there's a theory that Jesus Christ might have been an avatar of Vishnu. So that's the way Hinduism is able to syncretize all other religions into it. But anyway, when you in like virtual spaces, in virtual worlds, avatars, well, they are simply the way we choose to look when we go there. And of course, those of you who have played role-playing games, you know this. that even in tabletop role-playing games, creating your character, your playing character is quite important, and that's what's also happening in virtual worlds. The avatars are sometimes they are looking very simple, and you might not have very much choice in them. And sometimes you might use several hours to make your avatar. This picture is from Second Life, which was really popular virtual world until maybe 2011, after which it started to decline. I don't know how many people are still in Second Life, probably not so many. I got interested in Second Life around 2007, and then I remember spending quite a lot of time in tinkering my avatar, like how I would look like, what kind of blue skin I would have, and so on. I had this thing that I wanted to have a blue skin. But anyway, I've noticed going to different virtual worlds that what kind of avatar I have and what kind of avatars other people have in general, what they are really important for the experience. They could even decide if I want to go there ever again into that virtual world. Like if the avatars look really horrible, then I have no reason wanting to visit there again. So another aspect, by the way, of virtual worlds are, of course, the spaces. Like what they look like is, of course, important, but also the functions of those spaces are just as important, such as how do you move around there? Like, is it by walking, or do you teleport there, or do you fly around? In most virtual spaces, you can fly if it's not something like Gather Town, where you just walk. But even in Gather Town, you can make teleport stations to other spaces. And one question is also like, how do you even find different places? If there are several places, or do you have maps that you could use? Or for instance, in Second Life, when you went into an area, they were called islands, you could see where the people were from these small dots on the map. And that's what you can do in many games as well. But okay, I'm getting that. Anyway, then for me, it's also important in virtual spaces to know what I can do myself. Like, am I just like a passive visitor that is hanging about and I can't do anything but maybe talk to other people that I meet? Or can I do things there myself? Like, I think that's why I used to like Second Life, because it was possible there to build. Well, you could build anything, but if you wanted to build an actual house that stayed, then you had to pay for the property or something. Also, can you import your own stuff there? Maybe if you have like 3D stuff, 3D models, can you bring them there? Or can you create interactive content? Like you might have heard of Roblox. It's that how you pronounce it? Roblox or Roblox? Anyway, that's game world where aimed at children, where children can create their own interactive content or like small games, and then let other players in Roblox to join in and play those games, and also to get money out of it. Roblox has got some bad reputation lately, but you can read about that in there's lots of articles about it. And then this image here is from a game called Dreams, which is also like a virtual place where you can meet others. So this is aimed for grown-ups, but the idea is similar, that it's a place where you can easily make your own games for others to enjoy. Then in any virtual world, there are social aspects. So this image on the left is from Gather Town, which is how Gather Town typically looks like, that you have these tiny avatars, and then you have video screens, and then you can hear other people speaking. So it's quite easy here to meet others, and the audio is dependable on where you are. So if you go further away from other people and then speak, they won't hear you so easily, or not at all. So that's how it resembles a real physical place. Then one thing that some worlds have, that you have invitation-only places, like that's actually how Mozilla Hubs and GatherTown work, that you create rooms and then you invite people in there, just like you do in Zoom or in Teams. But the difference is that you have like a physical looking surroundings there, and you can see each other's avatars, which makes all the difference, because then you are not just images on a screen or pictures on a screen and voices. Okay, then sometimes some virtual worlds are big common spaces, like Second Life was. And I think also the Horizon Worlds, which is from Meta or Facebook. It used to be called Facebook Horizon, which is the picture here is from Horizon Worlds. So they also have these common spaces where you can, and from that common space, you can go to other places. And I've heard some, or actually read some articles, that the Horizon Worlds, when you go there with an avatar that looks like a woman, then you get in just a couple of minutes, you feel very unsafe there, and there are these big herds of male avatars who try to grab your ass or something. So probably people after that experience, they most of them probably change their avatars into looking male. So it's a male-only world in that sense, it seems. I haven't tried it myself, so this is something that I need to go and see personally. Okay, another thing with interactions like what kinds of interactions can you have with other people? Like in most of these worlds nowadays, you can share your screen. I don't know if that was possible, by the way, in Altspace VR. I'll have to check. Anyway, also in well, virtual worlds that are actually game worlds, or that are original game worlds, or still game worlds like Fortnite, then there I don't think you can share your screen, or if it's necessary. In some of them you can share your voice, in some of them you can't. In most of them you can, though, these days. Then in some of them there are business opportunities. You can own stuff, you can sell stuff, for instance, your own art, or you can make some skins for avatars. That used to be a big thing in Second Life. Is there like I mean, Second Life used to have its own currency called Linden dollar, or Linden. And of course, you have a lesson about bitcoins later on. But that's not quite the virtual currency I'm talking about here. So in a virtual world, there has to be like ways of meeting people, and also ways to see them as avatars, and some sort of physical environment that looks, or that has some aspects of physical places. And I think this is the most important thing when you're analyzing a virtual world. Like, does it feel in some sense real? Does it feel like a world? Also, is it fun to be there? I mean, these are deep questions when we ask them about our world, by the way. I asked my son, who's 19, the same question about the simulated reality. Like, what does he think? Does he think that this reality is simulated, or that it might be simulated? And he often answers my question with questions of his own. So his question was, what does it matter? Like, if it has no real if it doesn't affect our lives in any way, if the world is simulated or not, what does it matter? So also, if we go to virtual worlds that people have created, does it really matter that if they are simulated or not? Like, the experiences that we have there are real anyway. So although the place might be generated by the computer, experienced in virtual reality glasses, but if it feels real, then the experience is real, and then it is a real place. Okay, so let's start talking about the day task, but which would be that you select a virtual world and analyze it, and then present it as slides. And so these are some of the worlds that you could choose, or if you have some other worlds in mind, then you can take those. Okay, I already mentioned Mozilla hubs and Outspace VR, or also Horizon Worlds or Facebook Horizon, which was called earlier Dreams, I mentioned. Fortnite and Gather Town. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't mention Minecraft and Habbo Hotel. So most of you are of the age that you have probably played Minecraft at one point in your life or the other. Am I right? So these how it were. Minecraft is a virtual world, and Habbo Hotel is something that is older. That used to be like a big thing in the 1990s and early 2000s. It was mostly for children and young people, and then it was closed down for several reasons. And yes, Second Life I mentioned already many times. Can you think of virtual worlds that are not on this list?
The one I can think of is the new Animal Crossing game, which is also like you have your own island, but you can also like visit your friends' islands and go on, like, for example, if you enter like a code, that means like anyone from like your server can like just come to your island and chill, and then you can like decide if you want to, like, for example, share some items with them and whatnot. I've been playing it nonstop, so
Okay,
familiar
great.
for me.
Okay, so I added Animal Crossing. Any more?
Does Tibia count as one
What?
of these virtual Tibia?
Tibia?
Yeah, it's
How
kind
do
of
you
the
write it?
more TIBIA.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like it's I think one of the oldest Morgs games in the world, like has like 25 years old.
Okay.
So there is a market, it's an RPG kind of game. There is market, there is like you are like a sorcerer or
Okay.
paladin, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And then you kind of you have like guilds and
Yeah,
online based.
of course.
Also Sims.
Sims.
Yeah, like you can't meet other people and visit other people, but you have your own world that you create.
Yeah, so I've played Sims only with the Facebook version, where you can't meet other people. But yeah, if you can meet others, then that's good. That's part of the virtual world that we are talking about here.
There is a game called Star Citizen where you are in the space or a space station and you have your own spaceship and you can visit your friends and play together with them.
Okay, can you maybe write it in the chat? Like
Yeah.
I didn't catch the name. There's also one called Eve Online, which is pretty old.
Is it like Among Us also a virtual world, like
Among Us?
Among Us? Yeah, it's like this.
Among Us.
Yes,
Well,
Among Us.
Yeah. But can you actually meet others there?
Yes, you can meet others and you can create your own rooms and you can play the game. The game is really similar, but you can choose your avatar and some like props.
Yeah, but there's already Fortnite here, which also I took that as an example because these days it's also hosting concerts by popular rock stars, and it's becoming sort of general world where you can do many kinds of things.
Yes, yes. I was just giving the
That's-
example. You don't need to put it on the.
Okay, but it's good that you think of the examples. Okay, I'll stop the recording now.